One.
Hi guys, here we are again.
Hi. Hello.
I may or may not be drunk, so there's that.
Welcome back for another episode, per usual.
Per usual.
Thanks for coming.
You know what no, we're not doing that. We are going to get it. Well, do you want to get into how you're feeling, what you're doing, what's going on with you? Or you want to get straight to the point?
Straight to the point.
Okay, straight to the point. Mm-hmm. We're going to be talking about all things us.
Mm-hmm. Me, myself, and I. Yes. That's that episode for today.
We're going to be talking about relationships with yourself. Mm-hmm. What that looks like. Are you gentle with yourself? Are you working on yourself? Are you putting yourself first? Are you putting yourself in danger? Mm-hmm. I know Peggy's been actively working on herself through therapy. I have been working on myself with conversations with people that I trust and I can be vulnerable with. Mm-hmm. I have not done therapy. This is an ongoing thing, all 3 seasons. It is what it is. Okay?
She asked me one more time, can you please send over your therapy?
But you want to know what's so funny when I ask you, it's for other people.
Oh, I be thinking it's for you.
No,
so
it's for
I was like,
people.
This bitch keep asking me, why don't you just use it for once?
No, it's for other people.
Oh, okay. I'm glad I could be of help.
But yeah, so although the work on yourself never ends, it's a continuous thing, I think it's important that you prioritize that, because if you don't, people are going to take advantage of you, you're going to be lost in the sauce, you're going to be confused, and all of that other shit. Peggy, please chime in when you would like to, because I feel like I've been talking this whole time.
I was waiting for you to finish your thoughts.
Okay, go.
Yes, I like the fact that we chose this topic. I think this was off the fly, because this wasn't written in the list of stuff, ideas we had in mind to speak of, and I thought that was interesting. Actually, it was your idea. I thought it was dope to just, we talk about relationships in all aspects, but we don't talk about relationships with ourselves.
Yeah, which is the most important.
Because you spend all the time with, like, even though we spend all this energy and time with other people, 9 times out of 10, most of your energy and time is spent with you, by yourself.
And I think, is it perfecting? I don't even know. Like, you as a person is the most important thing to cultivate any relationship, any healthy relationship. Mm-hmm. When you're not in a good space, or when you're not healthy with yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, you can't be that for other people.
Nope. So
I wanted to start with the question of, what have you done to ensure that you prioritize yourself?
Was that the first question?
No, it wasn't. It was just off the fly, because that's how my brain works. And then we'll go to the first question.
Okay. Say it again.
What have you done to prioritize yourself so that you can be the happy, healthy Peggy?
I make sure I travel. So that's why, like, that year when we couldn't go anywhere, the year that we will not speak of, I was like...
The year of the pandemic.
I was, like, really hanging by a thread. Because I like to travel, even if it's to a different city and get out of Boston. I like that. I like to be able to try new foods. And I'm a touristy person. I like to visit different museums, different sites. And of course, I do my little day party or brunch or whatever, because I'm a foodie too. But I love to see different other historical museums that we don't have out here. Because we know Boston, 9 times out of 10, any museum here, you gotta pay for it. It's not cheap.
No.
But the other places, most of them I've been to, they're either free or they're not over $20. They might say, hey, you can donate or whatever. So I like doing that. And the last year, I've been trying to, at least once every couple of months, get a massage. Like, get a nice massage, treat myself. Like, I'll spend the day like, oh, I'm gonna go get my toes done today, get my eyebrows done. Some people feel like it's a routine for them, but this is my me time, because this is what makes me feel good about myself. Like, get my nails done, my toes, get my eyebrows waxed, whatever other waxes I want to do, and then get a nice massage just for me.
Yeah.
So that's what helps me, because, I mean, seeing my mother work hard sometimes, I don't think she ever took a break, so that's why I stay ration her. Like, you need to take a break for yourself. Even if it's just a day you do absolutely nothing, do absolutely nothing. So sometimes, even though, like, some Saturdays, like, I'm busy with, like, the podcast, I'm doing other stuff, I literally plan my schedule so that during the week I'm doing, like, the small minor things around the house, like the cleaning and stuff, so that I know Saturday I'll still have time for me, because the only focus will be the podcast recording. And then even if we have to double record, whatever, I know I still have time for me, because
you did everything you needed to do prior to.
Some people might think I'm a stickler, but honestly, I walk around with an agenda. That's why 9 times out of 10, if someone said, hey, you want to do this? I'm like, I'll get back to you later, because I literally have to go through my agenda, because one, I do a schedule based off of one, not overbooking myself to do things. Because you got to remember, when you plan to go places with people, you need the energy to get up, to get dressed, and do whatever else that you need to do. And then the energy that you need to socialize with wherever you're going. So some days I might do 2 events, but they're small events. It might be a kiddie event, so I might not exert too much energy because it's kids and it's like, oh, I'm just here for support, whatever. But if it's like adult interaction, adult events, I need to interact more. So I might do an event here, and then one weekend I said, I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to record the podcast and then go home. I might do something minor and then go home, but I created a space for myself that, Peggy, you can't go off the fly of saying, yeah, I'll do it, but then forgetting that I said yes to Jess, and then I said yes to someone else, and now
I do that all the time.
And I'm going to have to cancel on somebody because I can't do both at the same time.
The way to handle that, because I do it all the time, is cancel on everyone after the fact. Whoever requested your presence first is the first person you should go with. Unless it's like something that's more important, like there's like a time restriction. But I always double book because my brain is scattered. It's just a mess all the time. And everyone keeps saying like, oh, you need to have a planner. You need to put it on your calendar. I'm like, that shit don't work for me. Even at work, I'm thinking I accomplished all my to-do lists. And as I'm on the train on my way home, I'm like, oh, fuck. I forgot 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, so no matter what I plan, whatever I put on my calendar, it don't fucking work.
I think that's fine for you to forget something here and there, but at least you know you completed the majority of the stuff off your to-do list. Because there's going to be time you're going to forget. Like, if there's any humans out there that have pristine memory, like you do not forget shit, like your memory's good, like more power to you. But legitimately, I think my memory has gotten worse during the pandemic because my days just jumbled together because I didn't have a routine anymore for so long, and I was working from home and I couldn't separate work from home, that now I'd be like, now I've gotten better with the days, like, oh yeah, today's Tuesday or whatever, but I'll literally say, oh, I'll go on the phone, okay, I'm gonna look this up, and I literally end up somewhere else. I'm like, what the fuck I was supposed to go do? Like, I literally just said that to myself. I literally stood there, literally last night actually, I was on the phone to go look for something before I watched that live feed, and I'm standing there with my phone. I'm like, I literally said I was gonna go look for this thing first, then hop on the live, and I literally forgot what it was. I was so frustrated with myself because I literally said it out loud. Peggy, let's do this first. So it's okay to forget. Yeah. But find whatever works for you, so you don't end up, because nothing's more stressful than double booking and having to cancel on one person that you already said yes to, and you can't go anymore.
That part.
I just hate that feeling. But what have you done in your case?
What have I done to prioritize myself? Well, I feel like I'm always prioritizing myself. I'm not even going to hold you guys. I'm always quick to cancel a plan. I'm always quick to be like, I got things to do, and that's a whole motherfucking lie because I'm at home doing nothing. I'm just so done with overexerting myself to people that don't do the same for me. And not even to say that they don't do the same for me. It's like overexerting myself and I don't fucking want to. I made it very clear I stopped over-explaining myself whenever someone asks me if I can do something, or if I can go out with them, or if I want to go out. I'm like, no, I think I'm gonna stay in the house. I'm not over here saying, yeah, I'm not feeling well, or yeah, I got so many things to do. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going out. Yeah. At that point.
Especially the last minute stuff, like for me, and I said it before plenty of times on this podcast, I do not like being told, like, ask, like, hey, you want to go like, there's certain instances I wouldn't mind. Like, if I already had it in the mindset, like, damn, I'm kind of bored, I wish I could do something. Someone literally was like, hey, you want to go da-da-da-da? As long as it's my type of thing, it's my vibe. I'm not going to force myself to be somewhere that I wouldn't want to do anyways. Yeah. Someone's like, hey, you want to do this? And I wouldn't mind, then I'll go. But majority of the time, I prefer to know in advance, especially when it takes, like I said, my energy to get up, get myself ready to look for the outfit, depending on where we're going, and then to physically drive there for meeting there. I prefer to drive my car because when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to fuck to go, and I don't want to depend on one person. Like, damn, I gotta wait till she's ready to go. I hate that.
That's fucking good.
So I prefer to drive my own car.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. Like, I want to go home.
Yeah.
But like you said, 9 times out of 10, I don't want to go anywhere.
I've done everything that I could do that is enjoyable, I guess.
Mm.
Early on in my 20s. That in my 30s, I'm all about relaxation.
Yep.
And keeping away from people. COVID was like a blessing in disguise for most people.
Yeah.
One of them being me. Because I was like, oh no.
She don't like people anyway, so it don't matter.
Yeah, that part. I hate people. Anyways, I brought this conversation up because it was this topic came to mind because I had a conversation with my best friend. We were talking about something and she's like, yo, do you remember the first time you like was feeling yourself? She's like, because I was there when you did it, right? So let's backtrack before that time came. Mm-hmm. I grew up, I was always chubby. I was like a little chubby, chunky little girl.
Are you going ahead to answer this question?
What's the question?
Tell a story of your first memory when you when you didn't like yourself.
Yes. I'm trying to make it fluid. But
sorry.
I got you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping us on track because we have fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always grown up chubby, and I remember people telling me like, "Oh my god, you're so chunky." First, it was a cute chunky. Then it was like, "You're too chunky. You need to lose weight." I remember a grown man telling me, I was 14 years old at the time, maybe even 12, and he was like, "Oh, you're very pretty, but you're like really chunky," and I was like, that shit. I remember where I was sitting, what I was eating, like what I was like. I remember the whole scenario in my head. And I'm looking at this man and I'm just like, first off, you're a grown-ass man. Why are you telling me this shit?
And why are you looking at me?
Right? Because I think the conversation was like, oh, are you dating? Because, you know, it was like that awkward preteen stage of like, okay. You know. And, but I've never felt, as much as people be like, oh my God, you're so cute. I never felt that. Like, never felt that. Up until I think I was 16. Yeah, I think I was 16. It was the summer that me and my best friend lost massive amount of weight, like unhealthy amount of weight. Like I went from a size 16 to a size 8 in one summer. Crazy. We was walking everywhere, and I was able to fit like a mini skirt, and I was like, you know, super cute. And I remember walking past a mirror at a mall. We were at, I think it was at Filing's basement or something. And I walked past the mirror and I had to stop and I was like, bitch, is that you? Bitch, that's you. And I was feeling myself, but then it was like false, what is it called? Like when you, like false feelings, I guess, because I felt that way because I achieved something that everyone said I wasn't. I was smaller than what I was. And so I was like, okay, so I've already got the face card. I just needed the body card, right? And so I was just like, okay, now I have both. And so I was feeling myself. But it was like under false pretenses. That's what it was. Because at the end of the day, chubby, small, or whatever, my value as who I am as a person and how I can date or who should be attracted to me, who is allowed to be attracted to me, should not be based on weight, whatever. So there's that. So for a great chunk of my life, I've always had adults, fucking disgusting.
They're worse than the kids.
Telling me that I was cute, but I'm too chunky. And then when I lost the weight, I had a split second of like, you that bitch. And then it dissipated. It didn't last long because again, it was under false pretenses. Because I'm not valued by my size. I'm valued by who the fuck I am and what I bring. So there's that. That was my first. I guess mine's reverse because that question is talking about like when did you realize you hated, like what was the question?
You didn't like yourself.
You didn't like yourself, and for the most part, I've always never liked myself because people kept reiterating how much I shouldn't like myself because I look like this and I am this way. And then I had that short stint where I felt myself, I was feeling myself, and then it dissipated because, again, false pretenses. Mm-hmm. So what about you?
My first instance of me not liking myself, obviously preteen, going teenage years. I don't remember the exact age, but I know it was around the time I was between the age of 12 and like 15. You know, your pubescent years and you're becoming a young adult phase. So, I mean, around that stage, that's where we're all figuring out ourselves. Some of us thinking we're grown when we're not. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was more like for my body, I didn't like myself. In a sense, I kind of didn't like my hair either. Part of it was, you know, most of the shows that I watched, or I mean, not shows necessarily.
Everything you watch on TV, all the images you watch on TV.
I'll say for the most part, most of the shows that I watched, there's different variations of black people, because Claire Huxtable was a brown-skinned woman. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't affected by my skin tone per se. My dad, you see my dad. My dad's dark, and my mother's lighter than me. It's like a mixture of both. For me, my parents never like said anything in regards to skin tone. Never had issues with skin tone, but it was for me the body, because growing up right around when I hit puberty, you know, West Indians, especially Asians, they don't care what fucking stage in life you're at. They are commenting about your body. Mm-hmm. I mean, back then you think it's whatever, but now that I think about it as an adult, I think it's weird. I think it's weird to constantly comment on a child's body. Like, I feel like, you know, sometimes when when they start to hit a certain age, like oh my God, you're getting taller. Da da da. She's like I remember like my niece's mom. She's like, her mother be like, you have your auntie's booty, just like that. She'll just leave it alone, but nothing in the sense where it's like, oh, she's too big or she's too small for her age. We don't comment like that on her size, because we just let her be, because we notice like, okay, you know your child is a baby and they start to form into themselves and you're like, oh my God, you don't want them to grow up too fast. I get that. But the constant reminder of the size or shape of a child is like, as an adult, it's very troubling for me. I don't like it. For both moms, I mean, fathers, not that I know, my father never commented on my weight. Yeah. Never. My mother would turn around like, you see, she's getting bigger. My father's like, I guess she's eating good. He never commented on my weight. He never said anything. If I did slim down, that's when the most he'll say, like, oh, I noticed you slimming down. That's it. But if I was gaining weight, he never said anything about me gaining weight, and that's why I said I'll give that to my dad. He never commented. But my mother, every chance she gets, she'll like, I'll catch her staring me down. I'm like, what? I say what now as an adult, but like, I know I couldn't say it back then. She said, oh, I noticed you gaining weight. But for me, I didn't like myself because at the time, I thought my body shape was weird. So I was becoming at a point where after my first period, my body started taking shape. But honestly, now that I think about it, I don't remember when my hips started to spread. You don't notice those things as a kid because you're a kid. You're having fun. You're not thinking about that stuff. I never realized that my hips were getting wider. I didn't notice my hips until high school. Yeah. But prior to that, I used to always hear the female family members like, oh, to my mother, oh, but he has such a nice shape. She's shaped like a Coca-Cola bottle. Get the Coca-Cola bottle. Because at the time, I didn't have a waist, obviously. I was 12. Like, I mean, not saying 12-year-olds don't have guts, but I didn't have a gut at that time. I was slim waist. I had the hips. Barely have any chest. Barely do now. It's the bra, guys. It's the bra. But now, it was weird. And then I got to a phase where I didn't like my shape. I thought, like, in the videos and stuff, I thought like I had to be slimmer. I had to be skinny, right? So I thought me having these big thighs at my age and the wide hips, it wasn't normal. I used to think in my head like I want to be skinny, thinking that that's how I'm supposed to be. My legs need to be thinner and stuff. And it wasn't until my sophomore year in high school, I remember it was me and my friends, we always go to lunch and we would sit at Curry Student Center. Anyone who attended my high school knows what Curry Center, what I mean when I say that. And we're sitting down eating, and I don't know how this conversation came out, and I was like, yeah, I don't really like my shape like that. And then my friend, JD, she was like, Peggy, do you understand some woman would kill to have your shape? You know, I'm 16, 17, I'm thinking nothing of it. And this is before the big BBL phase. And I'm like, she's like, you don't understand, like, you really have a nice shape. Like, you really have a nice body. Like, just gotta love it. And we're teenagers. Like, what more do we know at that point? And then now in my stage in life, I see like how a lot of people will go get surgery to achieve the particular body that I didn't even like growing up. I didn't understand like it's genetics is how I have no control over that. I can't shave down my hips. I mean, now with surgery, I guess people can do that. But I didn't like my body at that point. I thought it was abnormal for my hips to be that wide. I mean, it didn't help that what was it, in middle school, 8th grade, one boy said to me, "Oh, you must be having sex," and I didn't understand that because my hips were so wide. So supposedly sex would spread. It's supposed to be spreading you, and I was 14 or 15. I'm like, I'm not having sex. That's another
thing. We need to educate these kids because they don't know what the fuck they're saying.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not having sex yet. I'm still a virgin. And it was a shocker to them. Like, you're still a virgin? Like, you look like you're having sex. I didn't know when you have sex, what you're supposed to look like. You know what I mean? I get it. Some parents will say, mothers will say, you know, when you are having sex, you walk differently, supposedly. Only a mother would know that. I'm not a mom, so I can't tell. Only a mom would know that their child is acting differently once they start having sex at a very young age. I wouldn't know that at that time. Don't feel half of kids. I didn't know better. But I thought that was weird. Now, like, I'm older, I chuckle at it because I'm like, yo, that little boy really said I was having sex because my hips were wide. I was like, the fuck?
It's annoying.
Annoying. So I didn't like myself, my body in that sense. And my hair, I never hated my hair when I was younger, but then I got to like age 9 or 10, that's when my mother slapped a relaxer on my head. I eventually asked her, like, why did you put a relaxer on my head? During that time, 90s, she said there weren't products like that like you guys have now to help soften the hair so I can manage it and comb it. She's like, all I knew is wash the hair, blow dry, put a hot comb through it, grease it, and style it whatever way. She's like, I got tired of doing that at a certain point, so got a relaxer. So my first relaxer, I was like 12. My mother didn't do it too early, but I was like 11, 12 when I got my first relaxer. And then at the age of, I believe, after 25 or 26, I think 26 to 27, I said, I'm not getting a relaxer anymore. I stopped getting a relaxer. I did it the slow process way. Let my hair grow, let the perm grow, and got to trim every single time. Now, the only thing I hate about my hair is the fact that it is a process to keep upkeep with it, especially in its natural state. So that's why I do protective styles for work. But once I go on summer break, I have time to play around with my hair. I love my hair the way it is. Do I want it to be a little bit fuller? Yes, I do. I would prefer it to be fuller like it was when I was getting relaxers. But I hated it in the sense where it's like, you know, the part where as your natural hair starts to grow out, you see the curly root and the rest of your hair is straight.
Stringy as fuck.
Yep, I hate that shit. I hate the way it curls up. But I don't understand, like, for my mom, it was for her to manage it, but for me, I thought this is how my hair is supposed to look. And then you see women on TV with these straight hairs, and granted there's women that had their natural hair in locks or out in a fro, but it wasn't as common back then as it is now. Like, so I think that's why I think it's dope now. Children have more exposure to darker skin dolls, curly hair dolls.
There's so many things out here.
So many things to expose them to. Not everyone looks the same, and they're not supposed to look the same. I think that's a great way to educate our children. Starting from the time they're born, you speak life to them. Tell them you love them, how they are, however they are. You love them that way, because if they're not getting told that, they're getting this fucked up perspective and perception of themselves from what they see on TV and from their friends or what they're really exposed to.
I mean, honestly, because I was so traumatized, I'm still low-key traumatized. Like, I can't receive compliments. I can't. Peggy knows this.
She be telling me to shut up when I compliment her.
I be threatening people when they compliment me. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, cause in my head, the inner child in me does not want to believe that. Because I was told that beauty only is only valued at like your size and whatever. So when people tell me that, I'm just like, you're lying to me. And I don't like that shit. I'm still trying to dismantle that like image of me and like that perception of me. So there's still threats being given out here, but we're working. We're a work in progress. I think maybe therapy will help me get through that, but we're not going there yet. So there's that. I think I have a great solid foundation where I can be vulnerable, because I have these conversations with my cousins all the time. And we have the conversation of, bitch, Pick your head up.
Stand up! Stand up!
Stand up.
I love that's my new favorite meme. So yeah, that part I'm still working on. It's a work in progress. I remember getting extremely upset when somebody, another grown man, mentioned to my goddaughter, you look like you're losing weight. And this is, when I say this is a grown man, I mean like a grown fucking man. I think he might have been in his late 40s. And I understand there needs to be some sort of supervision when it comes to intaking of food with children, especially with all the chemicals and everything that's in the food. Mm-hmm. But there's a healthier way to do that. She knew people were talking and commenting about her weight.
It's mostly on the adult side.
The adult.
That's what I'm saying. People fail to realize, like, as adults, what we say affect kids a lot. And a prime example, as an educator, I've encountered different size, shape of students. Some are on the heavier side, some are skinny. But I never comment on their body shape. You're not supposed to anyway. That's inappropriate. Now, if a student comes to me like, Miss, I've been losing weight. I was like, okay, then check you out. I let them come to me and say it. Then I'll comment. But I don't outright say like, oh, you losing weight, girl. Oh, you gain weight. That's not my place. Yeah. As an adult, we shouldn't be commenting on children's bodies anyways. Like, they're already exposed to things that sometimes we're unaware of because we're not around them 24/7, right? So they're going to be exposed to things, especially with the social media on this perception of how you're supposed to be, how we fat shame women, especially women. Like, a man can be fat, his gut hanging over his fucking dick. If a woman's not attracted to him, they're not attracted to him. But women aren't going to be out here fat shaming men for being fat. They're fat, they're fat. Some women prefer husky men, right?
Me,
but
I like mine built like a bear.
Yeah, I like these. They're good. So.
Love it. But there are men out here who will sit on this hill and die on it about fat shaming women. If you're not into bigger women, that's
shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up and pursue
you wanna know
the woman that is meant for you. The fuck.
There are some low key big woman lovers.
Yep.
Trust me when I say, trust me, I know. And it sucks that men can't even be like honest about that because of fear of their friends being like, oh, you like her? She's a little heavier than normal. Okay, but this bitch is bad than normal. So there's that.
The size of a person doesn't determine how good they are or not. And don't be concerned about their health because I've learned along the way, especially when I thought I was going to be a nurse and stuff, like, being skinny doesn't mean you're fucking healthy. You can be skinny, yes,
doesn't mean you're unhealthy.
and your arteries are fucking clogged up because all you want to do is eat cheeseburgers all day. You never drink water, okay? And you're smoking cigs all day with coffee. So that doesn't mean you're fucking healthy either. Size doesn't determine health. Like, so for me, I realized in the past couple of months that I've gained weight. I noticed in my pictures, I was like, oh, my face look a little bit fuller. And, aside from my mom, when I mention my weight all the damn time. But I noticed some of my clothes were fitting a little snug. And it was weird to me because I was like, damn it. During the whole quarantine, I thought I was going to gain some weight because I was sitting around the house.
No.
But I did not. Even after we were able to start physically going into buildings to go to work, I still didn't gain crazy weight. It was literally towards the end of December of last year, going into this year. I noticed even in the podcast and the videos, when I'm watching the videos, I said, wait, my face was definitely slimmer in October.
Same.
And then I noticed as we start shifting into January, February of this year, I noticed my arms and my face. And I'm like, okay, I need to do better because one, for me, is for longevity for my life because I know diabetes, high blood pressure runs in my family and I want to have kids and I don't want to keep adding on the pounds. And you got to remember when you are pregnant,
on your body because when your body's stressed out like that, you can't even get pregnant.
No, and then two, when you add already adding so much weight, you got to remember as a pregnant woman, you're supposed to add on another 25 to 30 pounds. So I'm gonna be honest, right now I'm 200 pounds. So if I was to get pregnant right now and have a child, I have to add on 30 pounds. So that's 230 30 pounds and my frame is 5'3", and I already know it's affecting me because going down the stairs, my left knee hurts. And people fail to realize the weight that gets added on, it affects your joints, especially your feet and your knees take the brunt of it.
Yeah.
Because the
ankles can't hold up the weight no more.
That's why I think at the end of the day, every night when I get into my bed, like I rub my feet. Literally, because we don't understand like how valuable our body parts are. Like, oh, they do their thing. You don't think nothing of it. But you gotta remember, your feet hold you the fuck down all damn day. Whatever weight you are,
10 toes down.
10 toes down. 300 pounds, your body is holding all your feet and your ankles and your knees are holding that shit down. But you have to understand, if your body's not used to all that weight, it's gonna start affecting it. So I do notice like my feet starting to hurt a little bit more and my knees. I'm like, okay, Peggy, you need to get on it. So now I've been reducing my calorie intake. So eat a little bit less, work out a little bit more, and better food options. I understand sometimes I'll give in and be like, I can go for some bomb ass fries right now. So I tell myself,
I go for them fucking fries.
No, I still do it. I like last Saturday after I left, I went to go check on the place because I had to get something. So I do that, and then on my way back home, I was like, I can go for some fries. I went, pulled up to the McDonald's drive-thru and just ordered the fries. I didn't order nothing else. I don't care for this other stuff. And I'm like, I'm not gonna deprive myself. My doctor said that don't deprive yourself of it, because once you start doing that, depriving yourself, when you binge, you're gonna fucking binge on this shit that you're depriving yourself on. I'm gonna be honest with myself. I know I can't just completely X out this, but I'm gonna reduce my intake on this. That's for me. Works for me. And I know as humans, we're more prone to be like, you see, like, say for example, Jessica does this typical diet thing. It looks good. It looks amazing. It's working for her. I'm like, oh, I want to try that. There's nothing wrong with trying it, but it may not work for me because our bodies are different.
Our body makeup is so different.
Yeah, so whatever diet she's working, her body reacts to it great. I do it, I might gain another 5 pounds instead of losing the fucking 5 pounds. And I get irritated, oh my God, the diet worked for her, it doesn't work for me. Because our bodies are different. Our bodies react to things differently. So that whole, she's bigger, so she's unhealthy, that doesn't mean that at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that. If you physically do not find a big woman attractive in your eyes, that's perfectly fine. Just like with women, there's some women who do not like fat men. They don't want to deal with a fat guy.
I like big boys. So
some women don't like that, but we're not sitting on the mountaintops like, yeah, this is why I don't deal with fat niggas. Like, we don't do all that. Men always find the fucking audacity at the end of the day. Where y'all be finding it from? Can y'all tell us?
From Kevin Samuels?
Yo, like, where y'all shop at? Because I want to know, because I want to purchase a little bit, because y'all really be coming out here with the audacity of things you do not like about women, or certain women, but those women weren't fucking asking for you. They weren't
checking for you.
Nothing.
They weren't asking for you. They didn't even know you existed, bitch. So fuck out of here.
Literally. And here y'all are with the audacity.
Right.
And we sitting here living our best lives. We're not worried about you. Just the women that you're into, whatever shape it may be, go for those. Chase those. And I say that in every episode.
And shut the fuck up.
Whatever's not for you, you don't care for it, why do you speak on it? Just continue living your life and go for the thing that you're into.
Yeah.
You know, and go for the person that goes with what you're looking for. Don't try to date the total opposite and then try to change them and force them. That's like you dating a big woman and forcing her to lose weight. Why do that? Date the woman that's already in the size that you want her to be, I guess. But
listen, talking about that.
Y'all niggas be pissing me off.
We are going to go off on a tangent because I'm trying to keep between me, myself, and I, and how we have a relationship with ourselves.
Yes, continue. Sorry.
I remember after I realized losing weight wasn't going to make me happy. Like, it wasn't going to be like, oh, now I feel happy. I feel accepted. I started to accept myself in whatever form or shape that I find myself, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm surrounded by people who are really big on their body and how it looks, to the point where it's like body dysmorphia. Mm-hmm. But I have the opposite. I have the reverse effect of that. Mm-hmm. Like, when I start to thicken out, especially on the bottom, I'm just like, bitch, who the fuck is you? I'm legitimately like this. I don't see myself as like, oh my God. Like, granted, like, there's probably, I'm like, oh, I could lose like 10 pounds, right? Because I can see my face getting fuller or whatever. Yeah. But for the most part, I don't strive to be smaller. Like, if that makes any sense. Like, I just want to look a certain way. And whatever way that looks, whether I gotta shed off 10 or add 10 to that, I don't have body dysmorphia in that sense. Like, I love And oh my god, not even to table that the weight part, because we can go on and on for days, because women always constantly have to deal with body image and what that looks like. Just my height alone was a fucking problem for me. And now I'm like, I couldn't see myself any shorter than what I am. Like, I love being tall. I'm 5'7.5", but I'm just gonna say 5'8" because it's just easier. Or down to my lips. I used to get fucking so much inappropriate comments about my fucking lips that I was like, can I just like cut it off? Like, can I just like...
I never hated my lips in that sense. I just hated feeling awkward. Like, I remember, what was the first abbreviation? Oh, you got some DSLs. I'm like, I ain't got no internet.
Jesus Christ.
What you talking about?
Bro.
DSL. You know DSL modem.
Nigga said, I'm not a walking internet.
Like,
I'm fucking
And
crying.
then when I finally learned what it meant, I was like 14, 15. I still haven't had sex at this moment, so I don't know all this shit just yet. Because you gotta remember, I grew up in a Haitian household. The conversations about sex wasn't like that. It was just, now you're on, you got your period, you should not be entertaining boys to get pregnant, right? Because you're not ready for that. DSL, once I learned what that fucking meant, I was like, oh, wow. I never was offended. Wow. I never felt the type of way about my lips. As a child, I always thought it was strange.
My lips.
I always thought it was strange. Like, how come black people got lips and white people don't? Their lips are so thin. Like, I got full lips. I never hated my lips. Now, I had an issue with my nose. I thought my nose was weird at one point. Like, why does it look like that? But now I don't give a fuck. There's a lot of things I do not give a fuck about. I learned to love them and accept them the way it is because I'm like, this is my belief. God wanted me to look this way. Now, there's certain parts that I played a role in it. I made my body end up looking this way because, you know, I don't work out or I just eat whatever the fuck I want. I eat late and I go right to bed. So, of course, I'm going to gain the weight. Like, God didn't make me gain weight. I gained the weight because of my doing. But the certain features that I already had is genetics. And God wanted me to look this way. So,
that's when years of, like, acceptance and, like, working on yourself because... I didn't like my lips, I didn't like my weight, and I damn sure didn't like my height. I was always the fucking tallest up until high school.
You know the things that we hate, though?
Are the ones
the ones that people go under the knife for.
Yep.
So that's why I was like, I like what I got.
Now you can't tell me shit. Like, you can't tell me shit. But that's work. That's work that I've had to do. I've had to literally... dismantle. I'm trying to think of a different word, but dismantle keeps coming to my fucking head.
Yeah, you have to dismantle
all of the shit that was put on me by grown ass, trash ass adults. And that's why I'm very sensitive on how I speak to my god kids and how I speak to any child for that matter. And I always defend children too. Like, I looked at my best friend when that man made that comment about my goddaughter. I was like, you better get him before I do, bitch, because I don't have no obligation to that man. I don't know this man. Sorry to the man. I don't know him. And I will fucking lay him the fuck out.
You know,
and
she punches niggas. Yeah, I forgot.
I was saying, not even on a physical form. Just like, nigga, you fat as fuck.
And that's the thing that's concerning. It be the fattest ones that got the most to say. Like,
you a big ass
skinny. That's why you're coming at my weight.
Girl.
You're so skinny. You're a model. You're on the cover of GQ magazine.
It's just the expectations of what a woman should look like, and you start to try to instill that in children. It's so.
And people have to realize a children's body is still fucking developing. You cannot say anything to a 6-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, a teenager. Guess what? Their body's still fucking developing. Okay? So we need to stop putting this perception on how bodies are supposed to look like as a child. I've seen my students show me pictures of themselves when they were in middle school, and they were the chubbiest little things, so freaking cute. And now they're in high school, they slimmed down, they got muscle tone and everything because they've been working out, they're playing ball. People fail to realize your body fucking changes, right? I was looking at my pictures of my 25th birthday. And I went out and said, oh, I'm turning 25. I had this picture. I had this nice dress. I don't know what happened to that dress. It was like a navy blue dress that I had and wore it. And I was looking, I'm like, oh, my legs are mad toned. I'm looking slim. When I finally posted that picture, people was like, Peggy, is that you? And I'm like, yes, that's me for my 25th because I had makeup. This is before lash strips. I just had mascara, had a little bit of makeup done. If I can find that picture, I'll send it to Jessica. It might be a little blurry because remember, I turned 25. This is 2011, so it might be a little pixelated, but still. I was feeling myself like, oh my God, I turned 25. It's like a new stone that I'm turning in my life. But my body was still growing. Now, I mean, at that point, right when you hit 25, your metabolism starts to go down anyway. So now my body's going through a different change. But teenagers and children are off fucking limits. Their bodies are still growing. They're still developing. For us as adults to keep saying, oh, you've gained weight at 15, 16. No, how about as an adult? If you're not the parent, you should not fucking comment. But I feel like as parents, instead of saying, hey, you're gaining weight, like we can start incorporating things with our children because we know we want them to still enjoy food but not have a negative impact with food but also be healthy in a sense.
A healthy relationship with food.
Right, so you can say, hey, let's go for walks, or if they have bikes, let's go for a ride or a bike without saying, hey, let's work out type of thing to make them feel like, oh, you say I need to lose weight. Now, like, no, let's do it together without insinuating we need to go work out to lose weight. There's other ways to do that. So I think any adult, especially an adult that's not the parent, should stop fucking commenting on children's weight. Like, stop doing that because it's weird. It's fucking weird.
To table that conversation about weight, because I don't want to make it the whole thing.
Yeah.
But it is a whole thing for me. Like that was my bane of existence for 14 years, and even after that, because I would have exes. It doesn't fucking matter. Anyways, I think the conversation about having a healthy relationship with yourself needs to be had only because then can you allow yourself to be authentically
Yourself.
Yeah, yourself. Sorry, my brain. I've been drinking.
And no one can come at you sideways because you already know yourself.
Exactly. Like right now, the person that I am right now, there's not much you can say to me to get me into like a bad headspace. I have solid people around me. I know how I feel about myself. I know what's true and what's not true. So it's almost not, I'm not gonna say, but almost impossible for you to put me in a space where I'm just like beating myself up. But I think when you talk about having healthier relationships with yourself, you need to also understand your environment can cultivate that. So the people that I keep around, that I'm most vulnerable with, is the reason why I'm authentically me at this point in my life. And there's people that have made comments and that like it never swayed me one way or the other because I was still confident in who I was. And I think that is going to take time. That's not something that you can like, I'm going to keep all these great people around me because people change. And so the person that you was once vulnerable with, you can no longer be vulnerable with because they've changed, you changed, the scenario has changed, the dynamic has changed. There's so many things. And I think when we start to accept the fact that change is inevitable and that people that you have now may not always be there in the long run, then you can have like real relationships and without conditions. Right?
I agree.
So there's that.
So from us experiencing the first time we realized we didn't like ourselves, when did you realize you was that bitch? Like, oh.
I told you, in the mirror. That miniskirt. That jean miniskirt. I will never fucking forget it. And I had a Tommy Hilfiger red top with these fucking sneakers. And you couldn't tell me shit.
For me, I think it was way later. Late 20s, pushing 30, I realized, because I had that like crisis, oh my God, I'm about to be 30. I didn't do all these things because, society, yet again, put all these pressures and norms, what we're supposed to do as women by the time we're 30, and I realized I wasn't hitting that, and I started to get to the realization like I'm not basing it off of society anymore because society ain't fucking paying my bills. And if I have a mental breakdown, what is society want to fucking do for me?
Nothing.
No, just probably offer a suicide helpline number, a therapist number. Like, that's helpful, I guess, but society ain't gonna do much for me. And I get it, every 10 to 15 years, the ideas of things do change. Things that we thought were normal are no longer normal. Or not even normal. It's not okay to do anymore because it's how it affected people in the past. I say I really was feeling myself late 20s. I'll say more so when I hit 30. I realized it's a new chapter in my life. I started feeling myself. Like, if I was to scroll down through my Instagram because I had Instagram at the time I was 25. I didn't post a lot of images of myself, but once I got closer to 30, I started posting more images of myself when I'm out, more selfies. Of course, learning my angles and stuff like that. Filming myself in all forms.
Wait, what year was this?
For what?
When you started filming yourself?
More so when I turned 30. So this is like 2016.
Yes, I agree. I remember that pivotal moment, and I only observed it. It wasn't like a conversation. It was more of your actions.
Yeah.
You started posting yourself a lot more. You started going out more.
Dressing less and going out more.
Yes. Legitimately, like I remember that. I remember that 100%. That's funny.
Yeah, and the craziest thing, I never had a conversation, and I wasn't in therapy at that point. It was just, I'm just gonna live my life for me. Of course, I want to share the love that I have with a significant other, but I want to share with the right person.
Yeah.
So that took time, of course. But for me, at that moment, during my singleness at that time too, when I had turned 30, I am going to do things that I enjoy more for myself. I was feeling myself more and more. I was going through my natural hair journey, so I'm doing different protective styles. More so that fit my face and my head shape, of course. But I was feeling myself way more. I was doing a lot of things that I never would have imagined that I would have done. So, and then I was trying to do things that took care of my body. So if I decided to lose weight and stuff and work out, it's for me because I like the way like my muscle was toning a little bit. Even my doctor had said it. She's like, when I got on the scale, it was like kind of higher than usual. And she's like, you have to understand, when we take your weight, it's the time of day we're taking your weight. If we're taking your weight in the afternoon, you done ate, you drank water, you still probably have fluids in your body. And she's like, and you're a little bit solid. She's like, it's not flabby weight, it's more solid weight. I can tell you work out and stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. So she's like, don't keep getting on the scale every week. So that's why sometimes I'll have a moment where I'll step on the scale this week and I won't touch the scale for like a month or two just to see if I've made any improvements or where I need to go or whatever. So like last week I hopped on the scale. That's when I found out I was 200 pounds. And I was like, oh shit, I gotta do better. Because earlier this year when I hopped on it said 194. And I'm like, I haven't got this big since around the pandemic, and I lost it right after. So, but I started feeling myself. I was that bitch around 2016, right when I had hit 30.
Yeah.
It felt good.
I literally, like, there was no conversation. I just knew. I just knew, like, this was after a breakup?
Yep.
I was like, oh, this bitch feeling herself right now, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it feels good. So don't ever let anyone try to dim your light when you are feeling yourself, because that person doesn't fucking know what it took to get you to that point that you're actually feeling yourself to a point where no one can tell you anything. Like, so don't let anyone dim your fucking light. You're feeling yourself, no one knows what you've been through.
Exactly.
Okay, how about let's list off some things you're currently doing to become the best version of yourself. Like, what are you doing right now in your life?
This podcast, that's what I'm doing. I am being more vulnerable. I am opening up more. I'm protecting my energy by keeping only people that add to and not take from. I am I'm putting myself first. That's number one. And then I'm obviously like ensuring that the people that I keep around me are conducive to my mental health.
Yep.
And not because I've kept a lot of people around me that take from me and not necessarily reciprocate. So there's that. But I feel like I'm still trying to figure out how to ensure I keep myself first and that I prioritize my mental, emotional, and physical health. But there's that. What are you doing?
Therapy, of course. Taking breaks when I need it. And I mean, I've never been the type of person that I have to be involved in every single thing. Like, you know how some people always have to be on the scene? They're out everywhere every weekend. Like, they have to be around people.
I don't even like people like that.
I mean, if that's what makes them feel good, I guess. But for me, it's not for me. So, like, you might see me a couple of weekends out and about. I mean, honestly, most of the time if I'm out and about, it's because just so happened one of my friends may have an event, then my boo, his friends may have an event back to back to back, and I'm going to them. And sometimes I tell him, look, I know you want me to go with you, but this one I'm gonna sit out because I'm done. Like my social battery is on E, and I need to recharge. I just want to sit in the house, catch up on Netflix, just do nothing. Or if I do go out, it's because I want to go out and do something for me, not to be around people and have senseless conversations or whatever. But not that his friends are like boring or anything like that. I just need time for me. Yeah. So for me, it's just like those things and like the podcast I love. So that's why when we go on those little breaks where we take breaks in between each season, it feels weird where it's like, oh, this is the first Saturday we're not doing anything.
This is weird.
Like we're not meeting up to do anything, but we do that so that we can be our best selves when it's time to go in and do the show. Because for those podcasts that can go in and do episode upon episode without probably taking a break, that works for them. But for us, we want to make sure we are able to recharge.
Yep. And be our full selves.
We're fulfilling ourselves so that we can bring back that energy for the next season or whatever. So that...
And regroup for the next season. We just had a conversation about season 4 and I'm excited.
Yeah, we're excited for season 4, but we know once we're done with this season, we're going to take a break. Because we know we have other stuff to do. You know, and it's the summer. Saturdays are usually booked with cookouts and family functions and whatnot. So there's going to be times where it's like, we don't want to stress ourselves like, oh my God, are we going to be able to do this week? That's like, no. So it's like,
now from double recording to triple recording. Like, I can't do that.
We can't do that. So that's how we know. We're like, okay, summer, we know for a fact we're not going to be on here in the summer. We're just going to take that break. And then come the fall, things start to die down anyways. So we'll be back. But yeah, I like this podcast. This podcast helps me a little bit with being a little bit more vulnerable.
And this podcast has actually opened me up to meeting and talking to new people.
Yep. Yes.
Because in my head, I'm like, oh, Peggy's always wanted to put a guest on here.
Gotta get different perspectives.
And then I'm like, it wasn't that bad. I've started to realize, like, people are not that bad. Well, good people.
Good people are not that bad.
Yeah.
Fucked up individuals, they're gonna show out every single fucking time. But good people, yeah. But yeah, this podcast definitely helps with the best version of myself. Because 5-6 years ago, not even 2-3 years ago, I wouldn't even ask Jessica like fucking podcast.
I would say hell the fuck no. Hell the fuck no.
Yo, I wouldn't even ask because I don't think I would feel comfortable talking on the mic. And then people were actually like, "Oh, can y'all record yourselves?" Hell no.
When people asked us about it, I ignored it. But then when they were bringing it up to Peggy's like, people are asking about
it was like the 5th person that asked for in person, like recording. Is like, y'all not gonna record yourselves? Like, we just started. I don't know about it.
I like being home and ugly.
Because I'm telling you, that first season when me and Jessica was recording, I would just show up with some scrub pants and a t-shirt. It don't matter. Y'all was going to see us. You just heard our voices, and that was fine. Like, and we had to turn off the AC because of the humming noise. We didn't want people to hear it. Hot as hell. So that's another reason why y'all ain't catching us this summer. No. Because you would not hear us over the AC humming. But no, like, this podcast has helped us be more comfortable in our element. And y'all don't even understand because even though me and Jessica were both Virgos, there's certain things we're opposite about, and we're both shy to a certain extent on certain things. We're like, absolutely not. I'm not doing that.
The fuck not.
No.
I'm private. I'm very private.
I'm super private, but if I start being vulnerable, it's because I'm comfortable with you and I can speak on certain things. People, like, Jessica be like, you're so fucking talkative. Because I'm like, we've known each other since 99, since middle school. Of course I'm comfortable. Talking. Shut up. Of course. But if I just met someone, I'm not really talking much. I don't know if you do that, but I not judge people, I watch people.
Oh, no. Observe. That's exactly, I whenever I'm in a space where I don't know nobody, I just sit and observe.
Yeah, see how they
I see how you talk about people. I see how you interact with people. I'm watching everything. I'm listening to your conversation. I'm just observing. I'm just a bystander. I'm like, okay, I'll chime in like, what? Yeah, girl. But in my head, I'm like, I would never fuck with this broad.
Like, this is my... when you're leaving, they have memes that like, oh, when you're leaving a party or something, they're like, these motherfuckers don't know this is the last time they're going to see me. I'm not coming.
That's That's me when I go to my dad's family
Like,
functions.
I'm not coming back here. I ain't never.
refuse.
Like, we should hang out sometimes. Y'all
Yeah,
ain't never
girl, I'll
seen
call
me.
you.
Yeah.
They gotta have 2 phones. I can just give you the other number that I would ignore anyways.
Oh my god, it's crazy. So yeah, I felt like, you know, this show helps, and the circle of friends that I have, and the funniest thing, all my friends that I have, the ones that I consider like true friends or whatever, I don't hang around them all the time. We don't talk every damn day because we all busy. I do my best as an individual to check in on someone. If it wasn't for this podcast, me and Jessica go months without talking to each other, to the point where I'll randomly hit her up like, hey, how you doing? Bitch, are you alive? Type of thing. Let's hang out. Let's do dinner. Let's do a movie or something because we haven't hung out. Due to this podcast, I see Jessica
I told you this the other day when we had a FaceTime. I was like, bitch, I'm sick of you.
Prepare to be sick of me.
I see her on the train station with them stupid ass billboards.
I'm telling you, I did not know they were going to advertise me like this.
She texts and calls me all the time. We are constantly on the phone talking about the podcast and what we can do and how we can, you know, schedule. And if we have to reschedule, if we have to double record, like, it's just a lot. It's an everyday thing. This is why I don't have a man.
Don't blame me.
It's because I have to do a Peggy on a daily basis. I can't add another person to
I mean,
that.
sometimes we go a good couple of days without hitting each other.
It's just a couple of days.
No.
But the thing is, you just said we would go for months without talking.
We would go months without talking, in a sense, because we're both busy and I will randomly hit you up and we'll try to go do something. I think even with the podcast, the only time we ever really will try to talk almost every day is if we're trying to, like, I notice that we do it more often towards the end of the season because we're trying to get our dates together and figure out how we're going to end
now
it.
that our schedules are so busy.
Yeah, but I think for the beginning half of the season when we started back up, we were fine. We were good. Like, the only time you would hit me up is for the caption and the video. And if I needed something like, hey, can you give me this or whatever, that's it. We would not talk for days until it was time to record again. But towards the end of the season, I'll say the last few weeks, we've been in contact more often than before because it's like, okay, we're about to close out the season. We need to make sure we have all our guests in line. The episodes when we're going to record, if we have to double record because we're both busy, we have something going on. But 9 times out of 10, we go pretty smooth without hitting each other up unless it's necessary.
I mean, I talk to you more than any of my friends.
I feel special. Because for a while, she wouldn't talk to me like that.
And here we are at Uncomfortable Girls Podcast, talking about our lives and the shambles and poor decisions we've made in the past.
You can't judge us on our past.
Don't judge me, judge your mama. Judge your mama. Anyways, I'm a little delirious. This is probably our second episode. What am I saying? We recorded a lot today.
Yeah, we sure did.
So we're a little off. I wish I could contribute more to this, but I'm still working on myself. Just know once I become my full authentic self, my 100%, no non-negotiable, uncompromising, just fully myself, you about prepared to be sick of me.
Oh, God.
Prepare. Okay. All right.
But yes. So it's okay to know that you didn't like yourself. And if you grew up in a space where you were able to love yourself throughout your whole life, I wholeheartedly commend you for that. Because being a human being in this ghetto-ass world is very difficult, especially as a black woman.
I highly doubt there's anybody out here that fully love themselves at all.
I'm saying if there is,
there's not. I challenge you to tell me.
I don't have the data for it, but
oh, this is okay. Go. Sorry.
Okay, so what I will say, if there are any people out there, I commend you for that because it is hard. But for those of us who went through periods of our lives or still going through a period of your life where you don't like yourself, I mean, I can only imagine what you're going through, but you have to understand you are you. We're not supposed to look like the same exact way as another person. I think the only time I tolerate and can accept the fact you look exactly like another person is if you have an identical twin.
Yep.
And even as identical twins, I believe there are some differences between you two.
There is.
But at the same time, we cannot look like everybody else. And I know it's human nature to look at someone and be like, I wish I had what they have. But remember, we never know what the fuck people did to do to get to where they're at. I don't think you want those problems. Because you may say, oh my God, she's living the best life. You don't know what that woman had to do.
Yeah, fucking camels in Dubai. Okay.
Oh, let's not get on that. I found out about that party, the porta potty thingy in Dubai.
Don't even.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, but before we end this, I wanted to address this. This is my honest, open truth from our previous episode with West. Because he made a comment about women, the increase in homelessness with women, and I couldn't fact check him because that was a conversation he brought up on us. He sprung up on us, and I was like, I don't know all the facts, so I can't correct him. But Peggy did say, "But we're the most educated, right?" You mentioned that slightly, but he's like, "But the average woman is not, right?" So I just wanted to give you some facts. Men continue to account for higher shares of homeless people in about 61% in all unhoused people. The percentage of women is 39%. So you guys are still dramatically, you're at a higher rate of homelessness than women. I also read where overall women have surpassed men in terms of completion of secondary and post-secondary education. Women earn 61% of associate's degree, 57% of bachelor's, and 59% of master's degrees, and 53% of doctorate degrees. Okay? So although it may have increased, it's not at the same pace or the same percentage as men. Men still account as the highest of homelessness. So I will not be homeless. We're also the most, especially black women, let's talk about that. But women overall have surpassed men in secondary and post-secondary education. So I just wanted to fact check that. Although his point was proven, I just wanted to ensure to you guys and have you guys understand that even though it's increased, it has nowhere surpassed nor touched or even will touch the homelessness in men. And so as much as men think we need them in order to sustain a life after retirement, you really need us.
But I will say, homelessness should not be even a factor in this country because this country is fucking ghetto, and there's so many reasons why what led to someone's homelessness. It could be no fault of their own. They may have had the best job, and the job just abruptly said, you know what, we have to let you go. And this person only had this particular skill for all we know, and now whatever savings they had already been depleted, so now I'm stuck. And I think with men it's usually harder because
it's much harder.
There's more resources available for women. So that's why I think that can play a role with the numbers being lower for women and higher for men, because it's like
the opportunity for getting back on your feet is higher. Like there's so many resources out there for women to get back on their feet than there are men. Even down to the shelters. There's not a lot of shelters that house men. So unfortunately, and that's not a statistic that I don't want to brag about, but I just wanted to correct it and say, like, you know.
Yeah, but thank you for sharing that. Because like we said on this podcast, we're not perfect. What we say here is based off of
our this here podcast.
Yes, it's based off of our experiences. But if we're going to bring something up, we make sure to fact check it, especially when it comes to stuff like that. We want to make sure, and there's no fault on West or anything like that.
Because he could be right in the sense where it's increased over the years.
Because you have to factor in the pandemic now and these high ass gas prices, but yet these jobs expect us to come in. You want me to drive where? You see how gas is?
You better take that fucking sniff of cocaine and bring your ass to the gas station.
But thank you for sharing that. But of course, like always, at the end of every episode, I don't know. Wait, before I say that, is there anything else you want to add? Or you're good?
Love yourself. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's all we can do is do your best to love yourself. Try the way that you know how to love yourself. You can't love yourself the way you see someone else loving themselves because it's different.
Thinking that's just gonna be. It's not a one size fits all.
Yeah, it's not. So love yourself the way you know how, and keep doing your best. Because at the end of the day, we all been through something in our childhood, but we cannot use that as an excuse to be the way we still are late in adulthood. Like, we gotta learn to do better. Same how we're so quick to tell our kids, do better. Well, same goes for you. And you're the adult, so remember that. But yes, at the end of every episode, we like to shout out a Black-owned business. And this week we are shouting out Pete's Collage. He's a photographer. He doesn't have a website, but you definitely should check out his IG page. We'll definitely share that information in the description. That's actually Wilson's cousin. He did a few pictures at my birthday party last year and my graduation little get together, and he did pictures for Wilson's birthday party last year too. So check out his page if you need a photographer for an event, a party, or just a little photo shoot because you're feeling yourself. There you go. Me, myself, and I. There you go. I didn't realize how this could have went with this.
Listen,
Look at that. Look at God. Look at God.
God has got our back even when we don't.
Yes, so definitely check out his page on IG, and if you want some more information, definitely DM him. But again, we appreciate you guys for checking us out this week. Hope you guys have a great week, and peace.